Mark Zuckerberg just paid $170 million for a house that isn't even finished yet. The purchase closed on March 2nd, and it set the record for the most expensive home sale in Miami-Dade County history by a lot. This property sits on a tiny private island near Miami called Indian Creek. We've talked about Indian Creek on the channel before, but if you haven't heard of it, the nickname should tell you need to know. People call this neighborhood the Billionaire Bunker. Jeff Bezos lives here, Tom Brady lives here, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner have a spot here, and now Mark Zuckerberg's about to join the club. The headline of this story is wild enough, but this purchase is actually about a lot more than just a crazy expensive house. There are some very specific reasons why Zuckerberg's making this move, and why he's making this move right now. We'll get into that in today's video. Now, before we talk about the house itself, we need to do a quick refresher on Indian Creek for anybody who hasn't heard of it, because this really is one of the most unique neighborhoods you can live in the entire world. Indian Creek is a 300-acre man-made barrier island sitting right in Biscayne Bay, just off the coast of Miami Beach. The island was actually created in the early 1900s as a result of drainage excavation in the bay. It just kind of appeared as a byproduct of that work, and sat there undeveloped until a group of Midwestern businessmen bought it in the 1920s as a real estate venture. These guys built a golf course and a country club here. They carved out 41 residential lots around the perimeter, and the village of Indian Creek was officially incorporated in 1939. There's a lot that makes this island special. One of them is that its own municipality, so it's got its own government, its own elected officials, and even its own police force. And when I say police force, I don't mean just a couple of security guards in a booth at the front gate. There are around 15 officers who patrol this island 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by land and by sea. Check it out on a Google Maps, okay? So here's Indian Creek in the center of my screen. If I zoom in, you can see what I'm talking about. There's literally just one bridge connecting you to the entire island. There's one road that takes you around the perimeter of the island. It's called Indian Creek Island Road, I'm pretty sure. It's about 1.6 miles long, and that road connects all 41 home sites around the perimeter of this golf course. Of those 41 home sites, there's only 84 residents who live on this island as of the last census report. And as you might expect, the values around here are insane. The average home value on Indian Creek starts at around $60 million and goes way up from there. Jeff Bezos alone has spent over $200 million assembling multiple properties on the island over the past couple of years. There's a vacant lot near one of Bezos' properties that sold recently for around $105 million. I mean, we're talking about one of the most expensive zip codes and neighborhoods in the entire world, so yeah, this is part of why Zuckerberg wanted a place here. There's also some other reasons which we'll get into here shortly, but first, let's check out his new house. This place is insane. So the home itself is a nearly 28,000 square foot estate, sitting on about 1.84 acres, with 200 feet of frontage, directly on Biscayne Bay. And the whole thing was designed from top to bottom by a designer named Ferris Raffali. If you're not familiar with Ferris Raffali, he's basically the guy that you call if you're a billionaire and you want a house that's unlike anybody else's house. He is an iconic designer who designed places like Drake's Toronto mansion. He's done work for members of the Kardashian family, international royalty. His client list is about as exclusive as you can get. The exterior of Zuckerberg's new house is clad in limestone, with what the listing describes as grand architectural proportions. There is a 38-foot skylight above the main staircase that floods the center of the home with natural light. Looking at the renderings that were provided with the listing, the scale of this place is unbelievable. We've got 9 bedrooms and 11 bathrooms in here. The master bedroom looks like a penthouse apartment. All on its own is incredible, and the description here says actually that this bed was made with horsehair and cost over $600,000 just for the bed. This house comes with a 1,500-gallon custom aquarium that's positioned in between the living room and the dining room. The kitchen is beautiful. I mean, yes, these are just renderings, but still look at this finished package in the kitchen. Somewhere in this house there is a private jazz club, and I think that's what we're looking at here. Of course, we've got a decked out movie theater in here with seating for 8, and some of those Rolls-Royce twinkly lights on the ceiling. In the master bathroom we've got more marble than we've ever seen. I think one of the biggest bathtubs we've ever seen, and probably one of the biggest showers we've ever seen behind that. The backyard, of course, is on another level too. We've got this 60 swimming pool, all these custom water features and walkways. We're looking right out over the bay. Just out of frame here, you've got a spot to park your 135-foot yacht. The backstory on this house is that it was originally conceived and commissioned by a guy named Dr. Aaron Rollins. He's a cosmetic surgeon to celebrities out in LA. Aaron and his wife, Maureen, bought the lot back in 2020 for just over $30 million. Then they spent the next several years working with Raffaele to design and build this place from scratch. I think the original plan is that they were building this house for themselves. But Aaron and his wife must have had a change of heart because they listed the house in November of 2025 for $200 million. Before the house was even finished with construction. This is the type of house and price point that would typically sit on the market forever. But it only took around 3.5 months before Zuckerberg came in and scooped it up for $170 million. One of the many things that's crazy to think about here is spending that much money on a house that you can't even move into yet. Reports are saying that it's going to be at least 18 months before this house is finished. Plus, another factor here is that the marketing described the house as what they call a blank slate opportunity, meaning that they probably haven't even started on the interior finishes yet. That means that Zuckerberg paid $170 million for the house in its current, as-is state, and he's going to be required to fund the remaining construction to get it to move in ready condition. Congrats to the sellers, by the way. Those guys just made something like $100 million for like 6 years worth of work. Let's move on to the motive though, okay? So, next my question is, why would one of the wealthiest guys in the entire world, someone who built his entire career in Silicon Valley, be interested in spending so much money on a house in Miami? Well, there's a few things that are going on here. One of the more obvious reasons for the move is just for privacy and security. Zuckerberg has been one of the most high-profile people in business for over 20 years now, and Indian Creek is basically the most secure residential address in the United States. There is another reason, though, that he's presumably making this move, and I am sure a lot of you guys guessed it. It's related to taxes. See, California has been working on what's called Billionaire Tax Act, and this is a proposal that would impose a one-time 5% wealth tax on anybody worth more than $1 billion. If that passes, it would apply retroactively to anybody who is a California resident as of January 1st, 2026. Thinking about what that means for Zuckerberg specifically, his net worth is somewhere in the range of $224 billion as of the last report. A 5% tax on anything above $1 billion is a lot of money. Estimates have put his potential exposure to somewhere around $11 billion if this passes. And on top of that, California already has that 13.3% marginal income tax rate, where Florida by comparison has 0 state income tax. When you consider all of that, this looks a lot less like a lifestyle decision and a lot more like a financial decision. I mean, sure, on one hand you could look at it like he just spent $170 million on a house, but on the other hand, by leaving California, he saved himself billions of dollars. So it's kind of like he got this mansion for free. And I also made a video about this Billionaire Tax Act. I will put it in the description. 1.2, though, is that Zuckerberg closed on his new house on March 2nd, 2026. And the way I understand it is, if he wanted to avoid that new Billionaire Tax Act, he technically would have to have established his residency in Florida months ago. Either way, Zuckerberg is far from alone in making a move like this out of California. Google co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin have left. Peter Thiel left years ago. Larry Ellison relocated Oracle's headquarters to Texas. There's basically been a full-blown exodus of Silicon Valley wealth the last couple of years. This, of course, is not the first time that we've talked about Mark Zuckerberg's crazy real estate portfolio, and I'm guessing it's not going to be our last. In Palo Alto, he's got that huge controversial compound he's been assembling the last couple of years. In Lake Tahoe, he owns multiple adjoining lakefront properties that were reportedly bought for over $59 million. He's been building another compound out in Kauai for years now, as well as a project that has made him not very popular with the locals. Then there's also that cool mansion that he bought in Washington, D.C. like a years ago. $170 million for a house that isn't finished is a number that's hard to contextualize no matter how you slice it. But when we remember that, for one, Mark Zuckerberg's worth over $200 billion. For two, he's buying into one of the most secure private residential communities in the country. For three, he's likely saving billions of dollars in taxes. 4, he's getting truly one-of-a-kind Ferris Raffaele designed estate. And 5, he's moving into a neighborhood where his nearest neighbors are people like Jeff Bezos and Tom Brady. After you consider all those things, this buy starts to make a lot more sense. This is definitely one of those ones where I would love to see the finished product once the construction all wraps up. But let's be real, those photos are probably never going to see the light of the day. I'll see you guys next time.